Hello, this is Sharon Burch again, and I'm here today with Kasey Pacheco-Moran. I'm very excited to introduce you today to Kasey Pacheco-Moran. She's a dedicated nurse collaborator and entrepreneur. Kasey is the CEO of the digital marketing agency Preservers of Life LLC, and she's the executive director of Nurses in Charge, a global nonprofit that bolsters the international nursing community. Kasey's nursing practice is focused on raising collective awareness of the preciousness of life, and her mission is to promote the fullness of life and joy and bring real health into the world. Hi, Kasey.
Hi, Sharon.
So good to be here with you. So let's dive in. I'm really excited to get to know you better. I've known you for a couple years, but I haven't really ever found out your story of when did you realize you were entrepreneurial? Like, excuse me, what was happening leading up to that? And then, and when was it in your career path? Could you share a little bit about that?
Sure, I can share. So my journey, my entrepreneurial journey, with all honesty, I would say it began when I was about 9 years old. I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. My mom was a single parent and we didn't get allowance. So me and my sisters, we were very creative, and my sister had like a vacation school program for kids that were like getting left behind in like first grade, second grade. So my younger sister and I, we decided, well, kids, they're used to break time. They're used to buying snacks at school. Let's sell them some snacks. We can do it wholesale, and then we can just make a little profit. And we did that for the entire summer, and we had good business going, and we loved it. We loved it so much that we started selling to other kids in the community every summer. And then we would make like little, what we call like sucker bags, meaning like the popsicles in the little bags. And we had good business. We were doing very well. And then that escalated when I was about 12 years old. There was an older lady in a community. She took ill, and my mom, she wanted us to help out watching her, and then eventually she needed help cleaning and bathing and personal care. And my sisters, they did not do that, but I I loved her so much. I did not mind wiping her butt, cleaning her wounds. When the doctor came there, the doctor would always say, "You're my nurse." And the lady, she prepared herself very well, so she was able to pay for that service. So I figured that was entrepreneurial, because
Yeah.
going from my little $6 for a sucker bag to getting paid like $600 for night shift, doing all this care at 12 years old, that's big bucks.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I loved it. So that kind of launched me into like being an entrepreneur. That's my business skills. But it actually pivoted me into actual wanting to be a nurse and going to school, knowing that I was gonna be a nurse from then on.
That's so interesting. So you started as an entrepreneur very young, but that led to you getting an idea or experience with nursing and leading to you to nursing. Did you have anybody around you when you were growing up that was an entrepreneur? Because, yeah,
You
I'm
know,
curious.
in all honesty, I would have to say my mom,
Okay.
because she was a single parent. She worked for the government for 40 years. Yeah, she did get a salary. My mom didn't go to school, so she took herself to school. But when she was young, because they grew up in abject poverty, so she learned to make what we call tampering balls. And when we had school fees and things that her budget just did not cater for, textbooks, additional books, she would make the tampon balls and she would sell them. So that's actually what paid for all of our extracurricular activities. And sometimes even like when I was in college, she would make the tampon balls. It helped supplement me going to school.
Great. Yeah. So you grew up seeing that people could literally create income with their
Yeah.
own hands, their own ideas.
Yes.
That is so great. So then you became a nurse. And then how did, after you had the nurses training, what was there a calling to go back into some business or make a business?
Yes, and when I became a nurse, I didn't really think about like side hustles or anything like that, because the nursing fee, it really covered my expenses. I was into more missionary work. But when I finished, I was working in a hospital, and there was one of the ladies who did, Bible, she was a Bible teacher with me. We were there, and she was telling me the ordeal her husband had in the hospital. Well, he was in a nursing home, and he was like a recluse for like 5 years. He was coming home. They didn't have any kids, and she had to take care of him by herself, and she was just so through with the nursing home, but she didn't know what to do. And I'm like, "You're bringing him home?" So so I told my husband, I said, "I have to quit my job," but I had to charge her, because that's 24/7 care. And I didn't even know, but my husband said, you can't do this by yourself. So he quit his job too. And so then we ended up starting a business and we built out a whole hospice company just to take care of him. We had CNAs, that got me into business, that got me into leadership. And then it kind of fizzled out. And then coming back after the pandemic, I was like, whoa, nursing is going to change and I got to do something about it. And I can't do it only in the constraints of the hospital. So I got out and got into the community, and that's kind of what started me into this big entrepreneurial journey I'm in right now.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. We're going to hear about that too. So thank you for telling me how the lead in. I did not realize that part of your journey. And it sounds like you really just were following your heart, wanting to help. And then you had already a little entrepreneurial experience. You knew, like, okay, I can do this. And you took the steps and your husband joined you. And then you got the help you needed with the CNAs and everything. So that's great. And I want to point out that almost everybody I know that started a business, their first business is not the one that they really wind up going with long term.
Yeah.
Especially when we see an opportunity like you did, we see an opportunity and we go for it. And then, yeah, it's perfect for that time. It was like a ripe fruit just hanging there waiting for you, but it might not be what really brings you long-term joy or sustainability. So yeah, I had that experience in my journey as an entrepreneur too. So then I'd love to hear some things that you've learned along the way, and also a little bit about what your business is now. And I know you're serving on some boards of businesses as well as running your own business. So what would you like to share with the listeners about that?
Yeah, so so currently my main business is I combined my digital marketing skills. I worked a lot in the community. I wanted to serve the community, but I realized the only thing they would be willing to pay for was my digital marketing, making them flyers, helping them with posts, helping them with social media. And here it is, I want to help this rural elderly community, improve their health. And they're like, no, we want your social media skills. So
Amazing.
it took me really by surprise, but I think that would be one of the lessons I learned in business is when you are coming to run a business is about profit, especially when you're running a for-profit business. So you really have to pivot based on the demands of the client on what they want. But I also had to learn about money for myself because I think being in the nursing field for so long as an employee, you're used to having a mindset about money. And I had to direct and see not just about being able to receive money, but how I thought about money. I would think, oh my gosh, when somebody offered me a service for my business, I would think, can I afford this? Is it within my budget? And I realized through many failures and a very hard lesson that the cost of something for my business should be measured against the results and the effect of the results that it can bring to me, not just on how much money I have in my pocket or my resources. Because if whatever it is really good and I know it's going to actually hit the results, it can tremendously increase. It will pay for itself, worth it gold, and it's worth an investment versus making a safe decision, but it's not really bringing me any kind of results. Yes, I could afford it, but it didn't really do anything for my business. So really measuring what something costs against not my pocket, but against what it's going to bring to me. That took a while for me to get.
That's a big mind shift. And I think it's crucial to have that in business, but it doesn't just come like that. Because nurses, we're taught to play it safe.
Yes.
Don't risk the patient, or ourselves. And that's extremely important. That's probably our number one rule. But in business, we have to take some risk. I think it's really important that we learn to assess risk.
Yes.
Okay. Don't you? So that we can go, okay, it's going to cost this much, and I have this much chance of it doubling or tripling my return, or this much chance of me just losing it and then taking a lesson and moving on. Again, how much will it set me back if it doesn't move me ahead, or how much will it move me ahead? I mean, we're talking concepts here rather than actual numbers, but it'd be like, is this $1,000 that I might spend going to really move me ahead?
Yes.
Or is it just going to maybe move me ahead, or maybe just keep me where I am? Of course, it's hard to know, and nobody has a crystal ball that we don't get it right every time, but with practice, and paying attention, we can learn how to make those risk assessments better, right? So that they more often come out in our favor.
Well, let me add something to the secret sauce because this is something, and I'm just giving it to your audience. But I learned in assessing risk, it's not just only about the thing itself, but money is a mental construct. So sometimes we're so used to paying, okay, I'm gonna pay $5 and I'm gonna get this product. But when you start talking about services and value, sometimes the value is not inherent in the actual thing. Sometimes the value is also the perceived value. So you might have to pay $1,000 more for a course, but who is in that course? Who are the other people it's going to connect you with? So the course itself might not even do anything for you, but the connections were worth itself 10 times. And so it's not just a thing, but everything encompassed with it.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. That is a huge factor. And the thing is, when you're first starting out, you don't know that
Oh,
is a
no.
thing, number one. And number two, you don't even know who's a good person to network and who isn't that much. I mean, there might be a few shining stars, but overall, you don't know.
Yes.
But so that's okay. You just start where you are, right?
Yes.
But keep on the lookout for learning those types of secrets, because that can make all the difference. Meeting one or two contacts that can open doors for you
Yes.
to your audience who you want to serve just is priceless.
Yes, I call it exponential people. So like for me, I'm a super connector. So for me, my value is inherent to myself. So I wish to be a person that when you meet me, you meet a lot of people you would never have connections with, right?
Yeah.
Like what I read a lot. So that's what they call like exponential growth. So certain people, you meet them and it's not just that they know a lot of people. Some people know a lot of people, but they will never mention your name, right?
Yeah.
But when you meet some people, maybe to you they might not be anybody, but they will mention your name to people that really want to know who you are, right? And
Yeah.
would invest in your business. So it's an exponential thing.
Yeah. I can see that you have really worked at this and learned a lot. And I also can see that you're going with your natural, like you're leaning into your natural energy, right?
Yes,
Because that you are so bubbly and outgoing and interested in people, curious. And so then you want to connect people with each other.
yes. Oh,
It's
yeah, I love it.
That's you all over. It's not even just about connecting with you. Like you want people to know each other who can then lift up everybody and
Yes.
make us all stronger. And I just love that about you.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. Thank you. And I think it's a gift that God has given me. And when you work in nursing, so much is about following the recipe and leaning into how I am naturally and my natural gifts and talents. I realize it's good for sustainability. And then I can just bring my authentic self, which will attract others, the authenticity in others. So I get out of people what they might not even know they had in themselves because
Yeah.
I'm my real self to the table.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And that's where your magic is in being your real self as authentically and deeply as you can be. And same for all of us, just to find out who we are and then lean into that and give it to the world. So,
Yes, yes, they're waiting for it.
so great. So networking, you're networking to help people connect with each other. You're teaching people to network as part of their marketing strategy. Is that right?
Yes, because I tell them, business is at the end of the day, people do business with people. So many times it's easy especially if you're a little bit shy, it's easy to push your product and services. And you see all these beautiful graphics and posts, but you're like, who owns this business and what is this about? But really bringing the owners to the forefront, especially when the people I serve, they are people with purpose, people who their business is very deeply connected to their divine purpose. So what they're doing is more than just a transaction of money. Because that's the type of people I serve, I want to leverage my skills to get them out there so that people know the why behind their business, not just the what of the business. So it's some of my clients, I may have to coach them. Some of them, they come up in front of the camera. It's just not their thing. Social media, they could help millions of people and never be known. But I feel like it's my purpose to help them become visible because people are looking for them. People are looking for trustworthy people who will go to the extreme to love them and help them and make sure that they're successful. So I think it's my divine purpose to bring them to light and then also to connect them to the right people who they could just build more of a relationship than just one-time interaction as a business deal.
So that's what you're doing in your business now. What you just described, your business is like a boutique, I think, of visibility and how would you describe it? You would do better than I.
Yeah, so I really capture the essence of feminine energy. So it's a boutique service. It's not your typical digital marketing. I have an excellent team. I mean, they have skills. They can do the graphics, they could do the SEO optimization, but I really brought my flavor to it with the holistic concepts of taking care of yourself, building a business that you don't burn out. So I have, some business development in there for for my clients. I don't have them market. I'm like, you can't be marketing if you're not ready to serve an influx of people because you're going to waste your money and then you're going to get overwhelmed, you're going to get burnt out. So I really help them flesh out their business, help them to pace themselves, help them to take care of themselves, but also to really see their own value and structure their business in a way that they could really be the CEO of their company and not just have self-employment, but they
Yeah,
could have a company with structures and processes that actually will serve them. So we do some coaching, we do some one-on-one because it's about helping them not just market for one time, but get a nice feel for what marketing is and or what it should be, and long-term strategy of building real connections and really leveraging LinkedIn as a professional platform. So that's kind of where we cater. It's very one-on-one, very tailored to the person.
that's excellent. And I can say I encourage the audience to look you up on LinkedIn. You're doing a brilliant job there of participating with people, with thought leaders, with nurse entrepreneurs, and not just in the US, but internationally. And you have developed a really strong following there in LinkedIn.
Yeah, so that comes from the Nurses in Charge. Nurses in Charge is a nonprofit, I'm the executive director for Nurses in Charge. Basically, we want to connect nurses all around the world to improve and elevate the standards of nursing. But nursing in itself is a holistic practice. So, in networking with nurses all around the world, other nurses are helping nurses in many different aspects. They all want to do good. So, just bringing all of that together and creating an environment where everybody is welcome, that kind of really helped me in networking.
Well, we're getting kind of down to the end of our time, and I know there's some important things that you'd still like to share. So let's go with who would you like to recognize in that you have has inspired you or you've learned from in your journey as an entrepreneurial nurse?
Well, this might surprise you or not, but I want to recognize you because
Oh,
when I first started, and the audience might not know this, but when I first started, and I'm like, oh, I want to be a holistic nurse and I want to go out in the community. And you were like, okay, Kasey. But you gave me some sage advice. And of course, Kasey's stubborn and she went out there and learned lessons the hard way. But I watched you. And I saw what you were doing, and I saw the pivots that you were making. Like your brand was very much tailored to you and what you were doing. And I saw the pivots of opening up your brand to be what I would say accommodate or serve the future nurse. And
mm,
that really resonated with me because I saw that you were making strategic moves and even sacrifices for the future of nurses and the future of nursing. And you were
mm.
building a platform for the future nurse, which I didn't see too many people doing that. So I really want to honor you and thank you because I think in the future, nurses are going to look back and they're going to really honor you, not just here in the US, but all over the world. I think they're going to be very grateful for the platform that you built with Liberated Nurses.
Oh, thank you, Kasey.
You're welcome.
Life, it's so great to be seen, but always a little weird. But yeah, you get me. I think that I'm doing it in the present, but I'm doing it for the future, very much so. So thank you for that. Well, what excites you going forward on your journey? What's coming up for you? Like what's in the pot that you're cooking?
I'm a hopeless visionary.
I know you are. I love that about you.
I'm such a hopeless visionary. So, I really, the sad part is when you're a hopeless visionary and you connect with some hopeless visionaries around the world, you really think you could bring about world peace and you really think you could change this healthcare system. And you know what? We are shooting for the stars. So in the future, being part of Nurses in Charge, that is my passion. It really is. I love business, but knowing that I'm working to connect nurses, to elevate the standard of nurses around the world, that 5 to 10 years from now, when everyone is scrambling as far as what do we do because we live so much reactionary to the present things and we
Mhm.
didn't prepare for the future, to be part of an organization who said, wow, we invested time, money, and energy into nurses around the world so that they could be prepared to help at this time. I just think, wow, that is so exciting. So that excites me knowing what we're doing, just connecting with nurses around the world who want to change the system, who want more of a holistic way of practice. That really excites me.
Yeah, me too. We're in the same groove with that. Absolutely. And I think you have a gift for the audience that I think this is brilliant that it will help them now, but by getting this help, it will open them up to their future. Would you like to tell us about that?
Yes. So my gift is the Burnout Prevention Workbook. And I put it as Burnout Prevention Workbook for leaders because I believe in everyone as a leader. And I believe you have to lead yourself before you could lead others. And the best way is to lead all the cells in your body is by taking care of your body. So burnout is what got me really into trying to figure out why do we burn out as nurses? What's going on? I found a lot of awareness along the way. So the workbook is to prepare the nurse or just a reader, it doesn't have to be a nurse, to be aware of how you're taking care of yourself, areas where you're strong, areas where you're weak. I am a certified neurolinguist practitioner, and as a neurolinguistic practitioner, we help you change not just conscious but subconscious behaviors. But before you get to changing subconscious behaviors, you have to be aware of your behaviors. So the workbook helps you to gain that awareness. And if after you try and you say, oh, I can't get it, then you come into my program and we'll deal with those subconscious behaviors. But the burnout workbook is a good place to start.
Oh, that sounds so valuable, Kasey. Thank you for offering that. And I know that the audience will get a lot of value from that. And they'll also get on your mailing list, right? So that they can be in contact with you and hear about the other things that you're doing.
Absolutely. So when they come on my website, it's the first free pop-up is the workbook, and then they will be able to get onto my mailing list and we can stay connected that way.
Great, great. All right. Well, Kasey, thank you so much for joining me today, sharing your beautiful light and your heart. I want to tell you, you don't know this. One of the first things that really got my attention about you was your email address. The spark is love. I just have always loved that. It always makes me smile and I feel a little spark when I read it. So I want to share that with you.
Thank you. And I feel so honored. I really look up to you, especially you've been heavily involved in the Holistic Nurses Association and just all amazing, your remarkable career. It's been such an inspiration. So I am deeply honored to be interviewed today. And I thank you for thinking of me and inviting me here.
It's been my joy. All right. Well, we'll sign off for now.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.